Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Wisdom Wednesdays, where every Wednesday we discuss a book that I'm loving, that I'm reading and currently I've read in the past, and I just like there are key insights in it that I would love to share with you, and that's what Wisdom Wednesday is about. But this Wisdom Wednesday has a slight twist. I found this really interesting article that I just wanted to discuss with you, and is 12 things frugal people will always refuse to buy. And I just thought it's so related to the content. I read the film and I really enjoyed the article and some of the 12 things they said, that I thought it might be nice to bring that to my audience on a Wisdom Wednesday. And maybe this would be like an ongoing thing where like the last Wednesday of every month, it would be kind of like a switch up. Maybe it's an article or it's like something from Reddit or something. And then we just kind of like sit down and we chat about it. And I hear what you guys have to say as well. So this article is from Money Digest and is written by Daniel. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to butcher it, but I will leave a link to the article down in the description box, so you can take a look if you want. I'm not going to read the article in its entirety just because it's quite long, so I'll just like read excerpts as I go down the list. So without further ado, let's get down to the 12 things frugal people will always refuse to buy. And let me know if you agree, if you consider yourself frugal, and if you agree or disagree with what we were to say. I'll definitely be sharing my thoughts as we go down the list as well. So starting from number 12, it says lottery tickets and scratch cards. I'm just going to read an excerpt. Lottery tickets are one of the most prominent things that frugal people won't buy. Scratch cards, lottery tickets, and other gambling adjacent purchases that fall within the same realm are a great way to waste money. The odds of winning a Powerball draw's jackpot prize are nearly 1 in 300 million. It's not an impossibility, but anyone who religiously purchases lottery tickets with a true hope of taking home the ultimate prize is lost deep down the rabbit hole of delusion. I couldn't agree more. Like I said in my 20 things that I refuse to buy, I will link the video up here. Lottery tickets are one of them, because I mentioned it in that video, like wealth building is usually a journey, it's not an event, and I just don't get that concept of willingly taking my hard-earned money and putting it out in the world in hopes that it would come back to me and maybe like double when it comes back to me, instead of using that money towards my money goals, spending that money on something that enriches the kind of life that I'm trying to pursue. Number 11 is brand new cars. A brand new car is one of the worst purchases you can make. Frugal people understand the multiple layers of value that a car provides, but it's easy to get lost in these different layers and see a car for its flash value first and utility second. Brand new cars cost far more than a used model of the same variety. Estimates suggest that new cars depreciate at a rate of about 20% during the first year alone, meaning a 1-year-old model could be as much as 20% cheaper than its newer counterpart. I think he makes a great point here. Like buying a car that is even like 1 year old, like it takes away, or even like 2 years old, it takes away all of that depreciation away from you. So the depreciation has already happened, and then you get to purchase the car at a reduced rate, where like you're not sacrificing function. The function of the car is still there. The car's quality wouldn't have depreciated by the same rate the car's value has. But I'm not sure if I would say I would never purchase a brand new car. I do consider myself a frugal person. I think a time in my life might come where if I can stomach that kind of depreciation, where your car is losing like 20% of the value in the first year alone, maybe I would consider it. Even then, like I think maybe because like cars are not really of huge value to me. They're more of like just this, it gets me from point A to point B. That's the way I kind of view them. I don't have a vehicle now, but even when I do, I just want something reliable. I think another part of this is like, you know, some people think like, oh, like if a car is used, it's not reliable. I'm like, the moment you drive your car off of the lot, it becomes a used car. 1 year from then, if you sell it, it's a used car. Like, and you would have stomached all the depreciation of that car. So I just don't think, in the stage of life I'm in, and in the future, I don't know if I would buy a brand new car, but I'm not totally ruling it out as like I would never buy it, because I think depending on how much I can stomach it at the time and the cost and all of that, I might consider it. I would love to know what you think down in the comment section about this. Number 10, homes that are larger than the budget. Experts suggest that you should spend no more than 30% of your take home paid directly on housing, be that mortgage payments or rental contributions. Any more than this figure, and you will find yourself stretching into the territory of becoming house poor, infringing on other budgetary needs in the process. If you're renting, like if most of your money, like normally most people, your largest line item is your home, but if you're renting and like over 30%, 40%, 50% is going towards your rent, like you still find that you leave so little to do other things. You want to spend fun, you want to have some fun money to do fun things in life, you want to be able to save and invest for the future. Maybe you have some debt and you want to pay your debt, but if you already find that most of your money is going to your this large fixed expense, like you just find you don't have much margin in your budget. And in a bid to actually reduce the margin I have in my budget was why I moved into the apartment I'm living in now, and I pay like $400 and something less than I paid before, just because like having margin is like that key to like growing your wealth, not letting lifestyle inflation kind of creep in and take away what you would use to build yourself up for the future. Number 9 is fully loaded cable TV subscriptions. Even before I read the excerpt, I'm like, do people still pay for cable? It isn't 2005 anymore, and the television viewership wars are well and truly over. Streaming has won out over cable and satellite TV, and yet these outdated viewing models remain hulking figures in the entertainment space, retaining millions of customers across the country. There's nothing inherently wrong with cable TV, but the pricing model has been totally undercut by the streaming services and alternative sources of TV and movie viewing options. Personally, I don't know anyone that has a cable TV, but like the stats are staggering. I mean, and also the stats are all for the US. He is American. But like I would say, if you have a cable TV, there are way cheaper options. Like streaming services are so much cheaper than cable TV. Like when you want to sign up for like Telus or something, there's always like that option of like, oh, we have cable TV options, and even then it was still like $30 or something. I'd be like, oh, for first month we give you $10 off, blah blah blah. I'm not like, it's not worth it, because even when you take price away, you still don't get it's not on demand. You can't watch what you want when you want it, because it shows what it shows. You also have limited options. So I'm just like, yeah, it's not worth it. And with a streaming service, you can bounce back and forth. You can cancel, join, explore different things, come back, and like you can have one subscription at a time where you pay under $10 and just like hop around when like you're bored with one. And cable services, even if you can hop around different channels, you find that when you have a cable service, you usually stick to the same things you watch, and you're kind of bound by what they decide to show you. Number 8, routine lunches at restaurants or via delivery. Eating restaurant-prepared meals is a great way to find yourself overspending on a regular basis. Markups on restaurant food are typically 300% over the wholesale value, sometimes more, with variations of dishes or drinks taken into consideration. There's no reason to cut the spending item out entirely, but a sensible approach to eating takeout meals or sitting down at a restaurant is a key feature in a frugal spender's budgeting math. I agree. First of all, like I've never been like a real restaurant, like I'm going to restaurants and I'm ordering like a whole lot of takeout, because up until November of 2024 I've been on a ketogenic diet. So I just preferred preparing my own meals on my own, because that way I know what's in there. I can like track my carbs and all of that. It was a lot easier. It doesn't mean that I didn't go out, I did, but it just means it made it more difficult and less appealing for me to even want to. But even now that I'm on keto, I still really enjoy preparing my meals, and especially knowing that things are just so much more expensive outside. I spend all this money on groceries. I might as well just like put that to use and actually purchase it. And like, I'm like, there are cheaper ways to do this. Like, I love the communion that can happen with friends around food, but how about we have a potluck? How about we bring eating at home, eating within your home, inviting people to your home back as a thing, having group style lunches or dinners is not like exclusive to having a restaurant. It's not exclusive to happen at restaurants or happen at home only within holidays. A random Tuesday can be a great time to just say, let's have a potluck and just like enjoy each other's company over a shared meal. So yeah, I definitely agree that frugal people are not having routine lunches at restaurants because it's crazy expensive, and there are way more alternatives to have dinner with your loved ones or a meal with your loved ones that does not involve you like paying so much markup. Number 7 is new musical instruments. He does admit that musical instruments is a funny one, but he said there's something exciting, bubbly, and uplifting about wrapping your hands around a brand new guitar, saxophone, or trumpet. Fresh keys, brass, or fretboard is something to be celebrated and cherished. A new instrument can be an inspiration, but frugal players of all sorts of musical equipment know the financial and sentimental value that a used piece of gear brings to the table. They barely buy new unless there's a particularly good reason to. I can't comment much of this because I'm not the most musical person. I bought a ukulele once. I've since sold it. I never did learn how to play. I did buy brand new from Amazon. But yeah, but if you're frugal, you happen to be musical, do you buy your musical instruments brand new or do you buy it used? I would love to know. Number 6 is fast fashion items. He says, fast fashion is marked by cheap prices and often equally flimsy production. The idea is to offer buyers with plenty of choices across trending styles that won't break the bank. Honestly, I don't know if I agree that these are things that frugal people refuse to buy, because I think depending on the kind of frugal person, they might see this as the most economical option. But personally, I don't buy fast fashion anymore. I have shopped on, I've never shopped on Temu, but I have shopped on Shein before. Like he said, bad quality, flimsy production. I've gotten rid of it all. Like some of it I can't even remember. It's like this cheap looking home decor things that I got, and I've just kind of gotten rid of it. But I would say, depending on the frugal person you ask, quality does matter, and I feel like that's something I'm leaning into a lot more. I want to buy, have that buy it for life mentality of I want to buy the highest quality I can afford. Now, and definitely I can afford more than these fast fashion pieces. Also, being a minimalist and knowing that I don't want to have just these different options of these different things and in multiple colors or whatever it is. I want to find something, buy good quality and buy one of it or buy two of it, things that would last me a long time. I'm not really looking for several options. I'm looking for something that one piece of clothing that can last me 10 years, 15 years, as opposed to 20 pieces of clothing that would last me 1 year and then it would end up in a landfill somewhere. Number 5 is unnecessary use of heating or air conditioning. There's absolutely no reason to blast the heat all day as soon as a slight chill enters the air. In fact, this is a great way to toss money down the drain. Instead, consider using your fireplace for a bit of cozy heat, or simply layer up for a comfortable and cost-free alternative to beating a bout of chilly air. I agree. I take so much pride that this winter I haven't turned on my heater once, because I've just found that if you live in an apartment style building, you would notice that heat rises up, and even just from elementary science courses, heat tends to rise up. So my apartment, if my sliding door window isn't open, or door, if my sliding door isn't open, it retains the air, it retains the warm air. So I haven't needed to turn up the heater. And something I found is that when I do find myself, maybe it's a bit it's a lot colder outside and it's a bit more chilly, I just have my wearable blanket, I wear a pair of socks, and I'm warm. I drink a cup of tea, and it's not I'm not freezing in the house or anything like that. But so it's just been great to know that, to beat that inertia that the moment you just feel a bout of chilly air, he mentioned, you just go and turn up the heat, it's time to turn up the heat, or it's winter, so the heater has to be on because it's cold outside. But this is something I've mentioned in a video in the past of try to acclimate your body to the environment as opposed to trying to get the environment to acclimate to you. And I've just found that especially during the winter, it's so much easier to warm yourself up than to cool yourself down. In the summer, I think it would be way trickier for me to like keep up this lifestyle of like not turning, I say lifestyle, it's just been one winter, of like not turning up the AC. So the summer would be probably a different story because it's just way harder to cool yourself down than to warm yourself up. In intermediate seasons, like we're about to enter spring, it's like the weather obviously isn't as cold anymore. Even more so, like try to take a break from the heater if you haven't already and see how that works out. Like try it out and see. And I think a lot of these things is if you don't take the preventative measures in your home. Like when I lived in a basement apartment back in Vancouver, like I had this like slight gap between my door and the outside where it wasn't proper, the door didn't go all the way to the ground, so like cold air could enter. And as a renter, all I had to do was tell my landlord this is the problem, and so it prevents the warm air from kind of like escaping to the outside, and it keeps the air inside. So a lot of times, a lot of homes have all these gaps, and if you do all the preventative work that prevents this heat from escaping, you find that you might not need to turn up your heater as much. Who knows? Try it and let me know. Extended warranty policies. Number 4. Extended warranty policies tend to work out worse for the buyer than the insurer. For one thing, most products that include offers of a warranty policy already ship with some kind of manufacturer's guarantee that covers the general build quality that would lead to an early fault, failure, or breakage. I believe I'd mentioned this in my first Wisdom Wednesday episode, like 12 ways to save money, and she does mention that, you know, avoid extended warranty policy. I have a bit of more of a nuanced position in this. I think it very much depends on the product you're buying. You have a camera, for instance, that costs $5,000, and let's say you review, I think it's important to review what the manufacturer covers and what they don't cover. If it's stolen, does it get covered? If like the lens breaks or something, and you know that this may be like an expensive part to replace, to repair, or whatever. Like I think depending on the amount you're spending and your risk tolerance level, like are you able to easily replace that item? How much do you need that item? Like those are things you should consider. Like personally, for my phone, I did get Apple products. If you buy brand new, it comes with Apple Care, but I did get Apple Care Plus, and so that really saved me when I dropped my phone from my 48th floor apartment, where they just replaced the phone outright, because you can imagine what that phone looked like afterwards. It was still working, by the way. Impressive build, very impressed. But I would say, like, for smaller things, probably not. You're buying a blender, no. Number 3, we're in the home stretch here. Impulse purchases at the checkout line. Brick and mortar and online retailers try as hard as they can to get buyers to spend more money with each interaction. In the physical storefront, one way that this is accomplished is through the use of end caps and checkout aisle displays. E-commerce retail spaces might perform the same function with offers like free shipping or added goods when you add a certain when you spend a certain amount. I find it very interesting that he mentioned e-commerce, because a lot of times when people talk about impulse purchases at checkout line, it's usually reserved for when you go to a physical store. But then the free shipping thing is also very common, of like, and something you find, let's say you're at $195 and the free shipping is at $200, but then so you look for something of like $5 to kind of get you over the line, so you get the free shipping. But I've just found that a lot of times you don't find things that are worth $5 that you want. I think this one is a bit less about being frugal and more about like people that shop with the list, people that are a bit more intentional and they have a bit more self-control. They're more of like, this is what I have on my list. All these things all these things in my side of vision, I do not even see you. I'm here with a goal, I'm here with a plan, and that's it. So, I mean, obviously there might be point of like intersection between those people and frugal people. I don't think this is necessarily just a frugal thing. Number 2 is disposable paper towels. I agree. I don't even need to read what is written, but I agree. I've mentioned this a few times now that I switched from disposable paper towels to my microfiber cloths. They have been great, no regrets. Number 1, I'm wondering if you can guess before I say what number 1 is. But anyway, it's bottled water. He says, bottled water is one of the worst ways you can spend your money. Natural spring water is a clever marketing ploy that glosses over the often public water source used to create the product on offer. I think this is an important point to keep in mind, that a lot of bottled water companies use like public water source to just package this water, and they've just packaged it in very enticing bottles, very aesthetically pleasing, and obviously it's very convenient to go on the run unless you just carry your own bottle. I haven't purchased bottled water maybe, my gosh, since the pandemic. I would love to know down in the comment section, if you consider yourself a frugal person, what do you think of this list? What are some things that you're like, I would absolutely never buy this. This is a no for me. Or like you just reach a turning point and it's like, I'm never going to spend my money on this again. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Wisdom Wednesdays. And until next time, have a wonderful day.